Hey, this is Justin with DayTradeTheMarkets.com. A little bit after 9:45 Eastern Time on Wednesday, the 11th of December. I'm gonna do I'm trying to take a trade anyway. Take a short trade here. We've had some really strong. I don't necessarily didn't have a plan to get short today, but we've got some. Whenever I see two extreme, what we call level three or extreme selling aggression bars, that certainly gets my attention. That's telling me there's a lot of selling aggression in this market. And so what the trade I'm looking to take here is what we call a sweet spot trade, where you can see where we've got this level three extreme selling aggression bar, and not only did it have follow through, but it had follow through with another level three extreme selling aggression bar. So where these two bars overlap, to me, is kind of a sweet spot, if you will. And there's another one. We just got a third one in a row. So I've got my order one tick below the low. So I've had a third one, which is telling me there is something definitely going on. I don't know if there's some news out or what, but there's a lot of selling coming into this market. So I have an option at this point to either jump on board and just hop on board right now, market order, or wait for a limit order in this case to potentially get filled. I'm going to go ahead and wait on a limit order, I think, because heading into the day, our bigger picture bias is up. So I'd rather be in line with the bigger picture bias, but in this case, I'm overruling that, knowing that there's some extreme selling coming in, but I want to be a little more nimble, a little more risk averse, as opposed to just jumping on board. Now, if this was on the upside and our bigger picture bias was up like it is, I'd be more apt to just jump on board with a market order. The other thing is that this level here, let me make this a little smaller. This level here, right around 95, is something of a line in the sand for us in terms of where we would expect some potential support to come into the market. And if the market can get below this, we would think it's going to head lower. So that's another caveat there. Now, with that said, we've just had this high velocity move come in, which is another strong indication of strong selling. Another trade that I like to take is what we call a high velocity move continuation trade, which is I'm going to just go ahead and move that to here at 97.25, with the logic that the low of this high velocity move should also act as, because we've had some pretty quick follow through right away after this formed, should also act as some pretty good resistance. So I want to be nimble. I want to make sure this goes in my direction pretty quickly, because again, this area here around 95 should be some kind of potentially some support. Now, if we can pierce right through that and keep going and get some a full bar or two below this, I may take that down below 95, and I would get another level 3 bar. So there's definitely some major selling that's come into this market. Now, I'm not going to jump on board right now, just because, like I said, this 95 area, heading into the day, we would expect this to be a level of support. I like the location I've got here in terms of waiting on a limit order. It's the high of this level 3 bar, essentially basically the confluence of these three level 3 bars, the low of this high velocity move. So I feel like that's an area that all things equal should have some pretty good resistance. That's where some really extreme selling came in, and so I'm just going to wait and see. So my plan at this point, I'm going to see if this market can come up here and fill me and pretty quickly move lower and see if we can take out this 95 level. If this gets taken out right now on this wave and it doesn't retest, then I'm probably going to move my order down to 95. But I want to see a little more activity below 95, because again, we're expecting this to potentially be some support. So that's the thinking on that. So at this point, I like to think of it in terms of like when I was a little kid playing baseball and I was playing in the infield. The coach would always say, "What are you going to do when the ball's hit to you?" And you just kind of have a plan. And it's kind of the same idea here. So if this thing heads lower right away, right quickly, and doesn't find any support here, I'll probably get on board around this 95 area when it retests there. However, if this thing does find a little support here, I like this order. I'm willing to take some risk on that, but I do want it to go in my favor pretty quickly, just because this 95 could be some support. I don't love taking a trade within 2 points of potential support, but there's so much selling that's come in that I'm willing to do it in this case. Anyway, that's the thought process that I'm using. So let me bring up something over here. Just to give a little bit of review, if you're not too familiar with what we're doing, what our software is doing is got a lot of different pieces of market evidence, and especially these these level 3 and level 2 aggression bars are really important, but we're also looking at, bigger picture bias, the filter, deceleration and divergence. We've got support resistance zones, the high velocity move like I mentioned, and so let me bring this back over. So again, just to give a little bit of while we're seeing, we're starting to get a little support here at 95, so that's good. Starting to get a little moderate buying. I'm not going to worry about that in terms of that. That's moderate buying relative to extreme selling. Our filter's dark red. Our all the aggression we've had level 2 here has had some follow through these level 3s, this high velocity move. So a lot of selling in this market. The one caveat is the bigger picture bias is still up, and this could be some support. But again, there's just so much shorter term selling that I'm willing to get on board in this area, if that makes sense. In terms of what these aggression bars are, just and I'll hear it if I get filled. These relative aggression bars are looking at order flow and a few other things, and it's really trying to determine a couple things for you. Number one, which side, buyers or sellers, is more aggressive at a given moment, and it's aggression that actually moves the market. If neither side is more aggressive, the market's just going to sit there if everyone's putting in limit orders. But if one side collectively, in terms of collectively, every participant in the market collectively is more aggressive and looking to get in the market more quickly, more aggressively, that's what's going to move the market. So if you have a situation where you've got some strong buying or selling aggression, or especially some extreme buying or selling aggression, it's telling you beneath the surface what's really going on within the market. You're not just dependent on price bars. You're not looking at in hindsight technical type indicators. You are looking at the true level of aggression collectively within the market. Now, is this the holy grail? Is this the be all end all? No, not at all. But what it is doing is it's giving you a little bit better information so you can make a little bit better decisions, and those little edges really add up to your P&L. If you can avoid a couple extra losing trades a day or a couple extra losing trades a week that you would have otherwise taken, or if you can get into or hold on to longer a couple extra winning trades that you wouldn't have been able to do, or hold a trade a little bit longer than you would have been able to otherwise, that's what we're talking about, increasing your edge. And that's what this tool can certainly help with, and that's what certainly the way that we talk about using it, and the way that we found that it works very well for people. So we're just kind of in a waiting mode here. Again, my plan is just to kind of recap, bigger picture bias is up, but I'm willing to overrule that if I get some really strong selling, and that's certainly what we've had. We got below this potential level of support around 1801, did so on some strong aggression. Now we've got some extreme aggression, and whenever you've got a wave of 4 extreme aggression bars, that's telling you some major selling. This is a 1 minute bar. This is the E-mini S&P. You can use this on any time frame, any market, any exchange traded market. So this, whether you're trading 5 minute bars or 3 minute bars or 10-second bars, whatever the case may be, you can swing trade this, micro scalp this, whatever the case. I tend to look at a 1 minute bar on the ES. So we're at a situation here where, again, we've got some strong selling that's come in the short term. That's in a little bit of opposition to this potential support zone at 95. It has held. I'm still thinking with the extreme aggression that's come in, we're going to at least test that again. I like this location. This is an area where there's a lot of things are coming together. Again, the low of this high velocity move, which we know should be some pretty good resistance. We've got the high of this level 3 bar, high of this one, low of this one. There's just a lot there in terms of selling. So I'm willing to get on board, see if I can get a fill here relatively soon. Here we're testing up the 97 quarter where I've got my order. I like the I also like the fact that this thing just creeped up in terms of, we just sold off hard, and then we just kind of creeped up on some moderate buying. So as opposed to if this thing sold off hard and then we got some extreme buying as a reaction. So I'm still comfortable with that. I want to see this turn in my favor relatively quickly. I don't want to see this. Ideally, my stop should be a little bit higher. It should be above this, and so I will do that. Put it up there. A little more risk than I'd like to take, generally speaking, on a trade, but I think there's enough here that I'm willing to do that. If we start to get some really strong, like level 2 or even level 3 buying, I would get out a little bit earlier before my full stop was hit. But as long as this thing's just creeping forward and hopefully can move in my favor pretty quickly, I feel relatively comfortable with it. So at this point we'll just kind of wait and see. Now I've got a choice on how do I manage this trade. I'm okay to split the order here. I'm going to put this about a tick higher. So, you know, about 7 ticks lower from my entry point. I'll get out a part of the position. Let's see, I'm getting a phone call. Let me pause this video real quick. Okay, yeah, it took a quick phone call there. Sorry about that. But again, here we are, still just kind of grinding a little bit higher. I'd like to see this thing turn relatively quickly, but again, I've only taken 1 tick of heat so far. I'm comfortable with this location. This should be a pretty good area of location. I think I was talking about before the phone call. I was talking about managing the trade. In this case, you know, if the bigger picture bias was down, I would look to be potentially, you know, holding the whole position and holding it as long as possible. In this case, because I'm a little bit wary of this 95 level, I'm going to scale out a part of this position and try to negate my risk as much as possible, and then I would take this second, you know, 3/5 of the trade and try to hold that for a runner. So that's my thinking on this. Again, I want to see. I don't want to see, what I don't want to see is any strong buying come in. If I see some strong buying come in, I will get out of this trade. But as long as this market's just kind of keeping it pretty tight to where I got into, I'm comfortable. I'd like to see this thing turn down and at least go toward the low of the day and test that 95 level again in the relative near term. So we'll kind of wait and see on that. I realize this video is going to about 11 minutes at this point, so I will pause the video for now and then come back. You know, if this this move higher accelerates, I'll come back, or if this thing moves lower, there's something to talk about, I will put the video back on and we'll go from there. Okay, we are within a tick or so of the first target. It's moved in my favor a bit. Go ahead and just move my stop down, and just so I've got a point risk there. At this point, you know, I don't want to see this thing go against me 3 points. It's done what I've thought it would do to this point. Now I just want to see if it's going to pay off or not. So, you know, I'll put my stop here a couple ticks above this most recent fractal high. Whoops. And we'll just kind of see if this this first target can get hit, and then what we can do from there. But worst case, I'm going to lose a point on this trade, and I can certainly deal with that, and I feel like that's certainly a pretty good scenario. So. You know, I'm thinking we're going to test this this low of the day, this 95 area, and this low of the day. I would think that with all the extreme selling we had from, you know, a few minutes back, that you know, we've got to at least go test that low again. So we'll just kind of wait and see. Looks like I'll try to hold on here. We're a tick or so from potentially going down there to 95.50. So we'll I'll just go ahead and pause the video here, and we'll see what happens. Okay, so we're testing onto the
target fill.
There we go, got a fill. That's good. So now at this point, you know, I'm out. I did a 5 contract trade, not huge, but you know, okay. I've got 2 of them at a profit of 7 ticks. I'm now risking, so that's a 14 tick profit, essentially 2 times 7 ticks. I've got a 4 tick risk on 3 contracts, so I'm risking 12 ticks. You know, with commissions, I basically have a break even locked in at this point, and we'll just kind of wait and see. In terms of next potential level down, below 95, potentially down to the 90 area. So what I can do here is I'm just going to put my target there at 90. If this thing takes off, I'll just take that at the next target. Otherwise, what I'm probably going to do is just see if we can get some more selling aggression, and when we do, I'm guessing this bar on the low of the day is going to be some, oh yeah, definitely, it's going to be some, as soon as this bar closes, I'm guessing we're going to get some pretty strong selling aggression. And so what I would do is just move my stop a couple ticks above the high of that. So yeah, we've got a nice move lower developing here. Just going to put my stop I know that's going to be something, so I'm going to put it a couple ticks above that. So I've locked in at least a minimal profit on this trade, and we'll just see if this thing can run down to my 90 level, or take me out. We'll just kind of wait and see on that. Yeah, so there's a level 3. So it's telling me that we've this market's pretty weak at this moment in time. Got in at a pretty good location. It made some sense. I think we had a pretty good plan there in terms of wanting this thing to go in our favor pretty quickly. So at this point, just going to see, can we go down and hit 90, which is our next level of potential support. We did find some support there at the 95, but now we've pierced right through it. So I would think we'll go down and test that 90 area. We will see. I'm willing to get out of this quicker though if we don't get any follow through lower. I'll get out at this 96.50. It wouldn't be a huge trade, but I've got to. I think our expectation is that these level 3 bars, the highs of these should hold. Certainly a wave of level 3s, the highs of these bars should hold. So I would expect. I think that's a safe place to put my stop. Now, slight caveat here. We've got some strong buying as a reaction off of this 93 level, as opposed to earlier on when we just had this moderate buying. So what does that mean? It means, one way I could just get out of the trade now. I'm starting to see a little two-sided activity. That's one way to do it. I think in this case, because we've also got this resistance area that's come in right here, and just as an explanation, these are our real-time support resistance zones. Whenever it's yellow, it's kind of like a green light, red light, yellow caution zone. It's telling us this would normally be a support zone, but there's a lot of weight on the market, so we would expect the market to go through there. This we would expect now to become resistance. So because there's that resistance and there's also this 95 area, bigger picture, I tend to believe that the market should find some resistance there. That's why I'm not going to bail out too quickly. Now, if things change, we get another, more buying aggression. Here's the high velocity move as well, which is telling us there's some pretty strong buying, or excuse me, some pretty strong selling that's come in. So I'm willing to give this a little space. I don't want to see too much more buying come in, if possible, but I'm willing to keep my stop above. I tend to like to see my stop get taken out on kind of a trailing stop, but certainly a more aggressive trader that just wants to get in and out quickly, you could just as soon as that bar came in, just get out of that trade, and you've locked in a pretty nice 4 points, 3.5 points on the trade. So that that's not bad. All right, well, I will. Video's getting a bit long. I will pause this and come back on when I want to make a new decision or some new information comes around.